The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast platform, its affiliates, or even the hosts. The information provided is for general informational purposes only and should not be taken as legal, financial, or professional advice. The host and guests are not liable for any errors of omission in the content, nor for any losses, injuries, or damages arising from the use of the information provided. Listeners are encouraged to seek professional advice relevant to their specific circumstances. Now enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome to Healing Out Loud. I'll be seeing y'all faces in the background and be making me laugh because I don't know why you're laughing. So it's making me laugh. You know, you see other people laugh and sometimes it makes you laugh. Does that happen to y'all? Laughing is contagious. Well, welcome to Healing Out Loud.
Yes.
Hey, y'all. / Divine Essence. And these are my beautiful co-hosts. Go on and announce yourselves, ladies.
I am Lael, the goddess of love.
Hi, I am Gabrielle, the womb healer.
Hey, y'all. I'm Crystal and Perfectly Chris.
Period.
And we are,
in unison.
Healing Out Loud.
Healing Out Loud, yes.
If this is your first time ever joining us, welcome. You're going to be in for a great show.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because if you're on this healing journey like we are, you want to stick around.
Oh, yeah.
Because it gets serious up in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, we have a great topic tonight. This is actually really good. I feel like for everybody, this is something that is, it kind of helps you. It's like a mirror. Yeah. How much work you put in. How much work you willing to do.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is good.
Absolutely. And it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Chris, I know you wanted to give a shout out to all of those.
Oh,
I'm going to let you take it over.
So, October, as everybody knows, or maybe it's your first time being made aware, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month as well as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Mm-hmm. So, in honor of those fighting who have fought, whether you are here or, you know, no longer with us, we honor you, we love you, we support you, and we stand with you. It's so many different layers for each subject, but as a woman who has kind of suffered with domestic violence in my past, I definitely want to give honor and love to those who are going through it or who have, because it can be extremely terrifying, and sometimes you feel like you're alone. And that's a lie, because you're not. And even if someone hasn't been where you are, you have love and support surrounding you. So don't ever be afraid to reach out. Yeah. And even with breast cancer as well, like maybe someone doesn't know what you're going through, but you're loved and you're supported, and we're fighting with you and for you.
Absolutely.
I
love that. And as a survivor of domestic violence, I just want to say, stay in the fight. You can't always just run out of the situation, but keep planning and keep getting ready for your great escape. And we're here for you. We're here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that.
Absolutely.
And just to add to that, because, you know, you often hear people say things like, why don't they just leave?
It's not that easy.
It's not always that easy to just walk out.
Can't.
You know, and it's not your fault either that you're in that situation.
Absolutely.
So people got to be more sensitive to what people are going through, because you just don't know. It's just not that easy. It's not that cut and dry and black and white the way people may think it is. Because why you just don't leave is just not the answer.
Absolutely.
But yeah, shout out to all the breast cancer. I mean, I have a few that I know that was going through it just last year. I think like 3 people that I know were suffering with it, and they all you know came through and they rang the bell. So shout out to Stephanie and Michelle and Marshawn. Those are the 3, and Tammy, another friend of mine, Tammy. They all
nice.
went through it. So yeah, they rang the bell.
Yeah.
And they're survivors. So shout out to all the
And I have
breast cancer
family members
survivors.
on the other side, and I would like to say to them, just congratulations on beating it. And even my family members that crossed over and are now on the other side, they beat it too.
Oh,
yeah, that's
You
right.
know what I
Oh,
mean? They beat it too.
Come on
Yeah.
now.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that. I love
beat
that.
it too. So yeah.
Yeah. So today's taste to kind of move on into the topic of the show. We are
Yes.
talking about triggers and healing. Are your triggers controlling you?
get into it.
Wow.
Let's get into it.
Where is the
the
wine?
definition.
I feel like I should have brought my bottle in here.
I'm
Yeah.
crying.
You might need it, sis.
What did you say, Lay? What did you say,
Break.
Lay?
What time are we going to break, Shell?
We got 30 minutes. Go ahead, Lay. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying let's start with a clear definition for the people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Let's get a clear definition to what triggers are. Triggers seems to be a trending thing. You know, it seems to be trending.
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants to use the word triggers.
You triggered me.
You triggered me.
Everybody's triggered. You triggered me. You triggered me. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you
So
don't want to be
triggers-
passive, but sometimes it's like, all right, now cut your shit.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Are you really triggered? Let's get into it. Because
Exactly.
this is a little bit deeper than what sometimes I feel like somebody just irritated you doesn't mean, you know, you're necessarily triggered, you know.
Yeah.
You're just pissed off.
Yeah.
You know, you just pissed
Or
off.
the wording is even different. It's not you triggered me. It's I'm triggered.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
triggered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
It's
your
my responsibility.
Yeah, you got to be
It's about to
responsibility.
be so good. Okay.
Yeah, we're about to get into it. Well,
Come on, let's get a definition.
but let's start with this definition. All right. So triggers are sensitivities that let us know we are vulnerable to something. In that moment, it reminds us of an experience that caused our needs to be neglected, ignored, or dismissed. As a result, we are left feeling unimportant, alone, or emotionally deprived. These are experiences from the past. It could be from our childhood and how we were treated by our parents, a past relationship, or the current relationship during a difficult time of disconnection.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's deeper than what just being mad
Yeah, absolutely.
that somebody then pissed you off. Because I'm irritated by something. Just, you know, I can't sit with my irritations because why am I irritated by everything? Because I gotta think about that sometimes.
I'm convinced I was born aggravated. I almost know for a fact. Like, because there's no way. Everything. Every damn thing, everything.
And you know what?
Again?
I don't know for me if it was the fact that before healing, I was numb to a lot of stuff. But now it's like I do notice that I'm triggered by stuff. Before I can't remember feeling like, oh, that triggered me. You know what I mean? It was kind of like things would aggravate me. They would make me feel. But now I have to check in with my body because of my triggers.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of like, oh, okay, hold on. Now I see you in the freeze mode, heart palpitating. What's going on? You know what I mean? So it's a little different for me now.
I feel like that's a beautiful reflection of your growth, though, because if for a very long time you felt kind of numb, now you're so self-conscious, you have so much awareness to what's happening in and around you that when something kind of aggravates you, you literally do a check-in. Like, wait a minute, what's going on? And that's a beautiful thing. That's
thanks.
And looking at it like that, that's beautiful for you.
Yeah, thank you. That's good. I like to look at it like that. Wow.
Yeah, because it is part of the healing journey. Checking in with the triggers. Why am I being triggered? You know?
Right.
And why and are we responsible for our own triggers?
Absolutely.
I mean, we may not be the reason, you know, why that thing bothers us, but we can't put why we're triggered on other people.
Yeah.
Like Leah was saying earlier, you triggered me. You triggered me. Okay, and I used to be like that. You triggering me. And I used to, I'll be quick with it. Till I had to say, I don't need to share that every time I'm triggered. Like, I don't need to let you know that you're triggering me because it's not, what can you really do about it in that moment?
Yeah.
Because sometimes
gifts. They're gifts. I remember my trauma recovery life coach. Shout out to April. sis got me through postpartum. That was my listen.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I met her because she had a room on Clubhouse where we talked about triggers. And her perspective was something that I just hold with me so dearly because it works. Triggers are gifts. They're opportunities. They're just literally a gift for us to see ourselves, the shadow in us, because we're not always going to be light. So if
Mhm.
you're triggered,
Mm.
we
I like
feel
that.
it is an opportunity for us to know ourselves on a deeper level. Like, if it's an intense emotion, if it goes to the past, it
Yeah.
doesn't excuse behavior. And it doesn't mean people are not responsible or
Right,
held
right.
for their actions, but it's still our work. You know what I'm saying? We do our work first, then we could come after a full assessment and be like, you know what? I know I was feeling this way, but you came like this, and this, and I would appreciate if you don't talk to me like that because that's not how I
Yeah.
roll.
That's
You
true.
can still
That's
correct
absolutely.
who did this.
Yeah.
It's
I
really,
Yeah.
love that. I love
yeah,
that perspective on triggers. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. They're
They're good.
gifts.
I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, girl,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been carrying it for 3 years.
I
That's
told you I'm
good.
triggered every day.
Yes.
That's good.
I think
Since you're
I
triggered
like
every
that as
day,
well.
can
Instead
we
of
talk about
just
what
being
triggered us
like,
today?
oh,
Today.
Me?
let me see what triggered me today.
Uh,
Everybody.
Let's start with Chris because
where's
Chris
my
was
list?
today. Like, what
Triggers, triggers, triggers,
thinking
more
about which one she
triggers.
Wasn't
was.
prepared to talk about it.
Yeah.
Uh, you know what? Okay. There's one if I may,
Mhm.
thinking of what your life coach told you, if I have to look at it like that, I do have one trigger that is a trigger warning. Yes.
I like
I
it.
do
I like
have one, I
it.
do have one trigger that has helped me to grow within the last couple months. Um
Mm.
so and I'll say romantically in relationships. I had a thing um with wanting to literally give all of me to, I'm about to say this shit out loud. Oh my God. To
Ooh,
give
come on,
all
We
of
girl.
yelling out
me
loud.
Come on.
romantically, not right now, but in the past, give all of me romantically in hopes that someone would never leave me and never see me as
Mm.
valuable and not somewhere that he would always want to come back to. Because why the fuck would you not want to be with me? I'm
Right.
not
Hello.
joking, but it was like a survival thing
Yeah.
because of and then there was some things in my past and I realized it was linked to in some ways feeling abandoned. And so when I would
Mm-hmm.
connect with men, I was almost like putting everything about me out there as almost like a, see, look, I'm her. I could be your lover. I could be your homie. I could just be this ball of fun, but I could be your support system. And if you need
Wow.
anything, let me know. Like I'm saying this shit out loud. Oh my God. Like
Wow.
I was
Wow.
really putting myself out there to be that girl
Mm.
because I just didn't want nobody to leave me. Because you walking
Mm.
away from me made me feel like something was wrong with me. And then of course in relationships, they don't most of the time don't work out. You're finding yourself throughout life. People are finding themselves. You're linking up. It's kind of working. It's kind of not. But there would be some where I was like literally ghosted, and the spiral that it would put me on, it
Mm.
would take me out. It was like a whole riptide came in and,
Damn.
and just shifted everything. So when I started doing the work by myself and then entering in a relationship where there is where I always say like I just want communication. I'm getting communication and being mad I gotta talk. Like and being
You see?
upset. And being upset that I have to talk. And it's healthy because this is it's first of all, it's what I need and it's what I wanted, but it's also help showing me like you are a beautiful individual on your own and you're
Yeah.
already complete.
Come on.
Your partner compliments you and vice versa.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I'm also made to feel that way. I'm not made to feel like I'm kind of here for a good time, not a long time. It's like, listen, I'm not I'm not here to abandon you. Like I'm your friend, I'm your partner, I'm everything, and I'm here to put in the work with you. And that was triggering that the healthy aspect of it was triggering for me because I wasn't used to that. So
Oh,
then
wow.
in my mind, in the back of my mind,
Wow.
it was like sometimes it kind of felt like nah, like what the hell is going on? Like no, and I have
Yeah.
to show up and I have to be responsible and I have to also honor this person's feelings and what they've gone through because I don't want to be that irresponsible that maybe someone was with me, like whether it was my elders when I was younger that ushered me into racing into these toxic relationships. And then there was like this cycle that was perpetuated of mishandling somebody's heart and emotions. I don't want to do that to somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's I saw somewhere that healthy relationships will kind of make you go through like these ugly versions to shed them. And
Sure.
so in some ways I was triggered, but I was triggered to look back and see the patterns that I was allowing. And in
Yeah.
some cases, like, niggas play with me, I play with niggas. Like
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
done to me, I'm gonna do it to you.
Vice versa.
But it's yeah, it's
Right.
beautiful. It's beautiful now. It's good to look at it like I never would have looked at it like the way that your life coach told you
I like that.
to see that your triggers are actually helping you.
Yeah, they're
They're
good
blessings. So
because they're often talked about in such a negative way. Like triggers are
Yeah.
just negative.
Well,
Like
not
when you
only that, they
trigger
bring up
something wrong
negative
with it.
feelings because it
They-
doesn't feel good to be in freeze mode. It doesn't feel good to
yeah.
have heart
Yeah,
palpitations or
Right.
to get angry out of nowhere. Those things
Yeah.
don't feel good,
they don't.
Mhm.
They don't. But when you're on this journey, they are helpful,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially when you're on
Absolutely.
the healing journey, because now you can dissect it and
That's for
understand
sure.
it better and figure out why you're triggered, why you're feeling this way, and you can kind of deal with that. So if it
Yeah.
happens again, because triggers happen, they're gonna happen. Like I don't believe that they're
Mhm.
ever gonna just stop. You're
Yeah.
gonna be triggered.
Mm-mm.
But
Yeah.
when they do happen, you'll be in a space to be like Wonder Woman or some like,
Yeah.
I got this. You know what I'm saying?
No,
So
Yeah.
you don't. It doesn't.
feel
It's
you.
not going to affect you the way it used to.
Yeah.
Where if I was triggered, now well, since I'm talking, I'll talk about what I got triggered by today.
Okay.
I will say it still bothers me if I am in communication with someone and they ignore me.
Meaning
Like
what?
I'm saying, I'm sending a text message, right, to
Okay.
someone, and I'm asking them a question, and they never ever respond.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, things happen, life gets in the way, and I understand. Double back and be like, yo, I'm sorry or whatever. I didn't see
Yeah.
shit, whatever. But if I feel that I'm being ignored, that is a huge trigger for me.
Mm.
So the way I deal with it now is that I don't look at it as I'm being ignored. I just say, okay, they're busy. I tell
Yeah.
myself that they're busy, but I'm also going to be mindful because it's like, okay, if you keep doing it,
How
I'm
many
just not
times?
going to talk to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just not going to talk to you. So
Absolutely.
our communication is going to stop because now I'm seeing it's a pattern.
Yeah.
Now you're doing this on purpose.
Right.
Or I may even ask, like, did you see my text? Or, I'm not asking too many times, not anymore.
Right.
Before I used to pop off like, "Oh, you don't see me texting you?" Like, what's I used to probably ready to pop off like you doing
Bye.
like I know you're not ignoring me, and then I'm coming off as a crazy, unstable chick. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's like, yeah. So today that happened to me, where I'm asking for feedback, and I'm not getting it. It's okay, all right. So in my mind, I was going, "Fuck you." And that's going to be the end of that conversation. So now I know how to handle you because this is not the first time you've done it. So,
Oh my God.
you don't always want to be like, oh, it's got to be this person got an issue with me, because I'm not that important in that moment. Maybe not to them, like for them to have a whole issue with me, but then they just might have an issue with me and they're just not saying anything. But I can't read your mind. And I can't, if you don't want to share with me what your issues are with me, then we have no issue.
Exactly.
As
And
far as I'm concerned.
that was a gift for you to be able to become more observant.
Right.
Like, so your gift was being able to be like, let me just pay attention to see if this is a pattern. And then
Right.
to exercise your worth. Actually, no, people don't get to ignore me. So it's always still a gift, like all the time. Like that was a gift to you.
Yes,
Yep.
it was.
And you're
That was
exercising
good.
your worth. So
Because I didn't react how I would have in the past. I would have, I'd be ready to pop off. Like,
Yeah.
who you think
Yeah.
you are? Like,
yeah.
and I will say that it still bothers me if I feel like I'm being ignored. But I've felt like I was being ignored before, and I really wasn't. The person was actually busy, and they couldn't answer the phone or get back to me,
Wow.
but they eventually did. But I was already in my feelings, like, you ignoring me, and it's an
Yeah.
instant thing. It was an instant thing for me because of those old feelings, or those feelings of abandonment or being neglected. That it came right up, and I felt it
Wow.
like, am I being ignored? And I gotta ask myself, am I being ignored? And I
Yeah.
wasn't. So now I kind of let things fall, let the chips fall where they may, and I don't go into that space of, are you ignoring me? I just go, I'm more observant now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
it's not feeling.
have you ever asked that person? Like, hey, did you see like my message or did you see my call?
Yeah. And they'll be like, oh, well, yeah, I was, busy working or whatever, but it's happened. But then, okay, so then why at some point didn't you respond?
Yeah.
If you're saying that it was just, I was just busy at work, you ain't working 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Now, if you weren't, maybe you weren't feeling well, maybe you were sick, or maybe something happened that you had an emergency. I get that. I get it, because stuff happens. But if I'm noticing that you just don't want to answer, so
Yeah.
now it's like, okay. So now, it's a difference between somebody being busy and caught up, or they got something, because eventually they're going to come back and go, oh, I'm sorry, or whatever, Michelle, I didn't see a message. But then this person doesn't ever do that. Now, why do I have to ask you why you're not responding to me?
Yeah.
I think in that ask, you're answering your own question because they don't value you. I mean, to be honest,
Right.
I just feel
Yeah,
like that.
that's
I
how
mean,
I feel.
to never get back to me means you didn't care to
Yeah.
get back to me.
Enough.
Yeah.
I wasn't important enough. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or there's still not an understanding, because I'm like listening, and then I'm also like, I don't know. I hang around a lot of toddler moms, right? We don't get back to none of each other. We be I'm just but there's an understanding. That's what I'm saying. There's an understanding, and no
Yeah.
expectation, honestly, too.
Right.
Between most
Right.
of us, we'd be like, "Girl, oh, I saw your message, and I just don't even know what happened, and don't
yeah,
never."
And I get that, but like you said,
Yeah,
it's the understanding there.
yeah,
You kind of
yeah,
know that
absolutely.
that's what it is.
yeah,
But
yeah.
with this person, I feel like it's intentional.
Yeah. Well,
You
follow that.
know, I follow that feeling. It's intentional, but I'm just not
Absolutely.
going to say, because if I call the person out on it, their response is going to always be, no, it wasn't that. And that's
Yeah.
going to further irritate me, because I'm going to be like, yeah, now you're lying.
Well,
So,
yeah, because action speaks louder than words
Right,
right,
at the end of the day.
right.
right.
Because to me, it doesn't take much to just respond at some point. If you can't in that moment,
Seriously.
at some point, especially if you, like Lael said, value me as your friend or a family member or whatever. Yeah,
Absolutely.
you gotta. So
Yeah,
gotta know your worth. First of all, I know my worth, as a woman. So I'm not gonna allow you to make me feel as if I'm not worthy for you to respond. You could kick a rock, okay?
yeah.
And I say that with a smile.
Correct. And that also relates to the abandonment. So Chris was abandonment. A lot of us have the abandonment trigger most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speak on my trigger. It wasn't today, but it was earlier this week. And I think I shared with y'all, maybe at Healing Conversations, my favorite love language is consideration and empathy. Consider me and have empathy for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that I feel is very important. And I know why it's very important is because I've always felt like with my dad, I didn't have no empathy. There was never no understanding. He never considered I was a 14-year-old girl going through hormones. Maybe that's why I'm rolling my eyes, or just whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the lack of empathy and consideration is something that really is rooted in me. And this week I was triggered, dealing with a loss, and someone that's the closest person to me, I felt like was not showing up. And That was a big trigger for me. And I mean, she got the girl, fuck you, just like that.
Yeah.
Those were,
Yeah.
um,
Damn.
yeah, I got all out of whack. So even on this healing journey, um, even with awareness, you know what I'm saying, and understanding, I'm still human, and I think we
Right.
have to
Absolutely.
honor that and be like, you know what, and with with such a sensitive time, it's like, yeah, if any time is gonna be the time to say, girl, fuck you, now is the time.
Now it's the time.
I'm getting a
But,
pass.
but you know what?
Yeah.
But triggers
Right.
amazing because I've had time to, and I called you, Gabe, and I told you about, you know what I'm saying, and I was
My
so
eye
happy.
got big, y'all. I was like, what?
Mo, but she got me right quick, like, all right, I'm gonna validate everything, but you still need to apologize. And I was like, not right now, too much, too quick,
Yeah.
too
Yeah,
quick,
she
too
did do
soon.
that.
Yeah.
And even talk to someone else very close to my heart. Okay, Leah, but when are you gonna apologize? And I'm like, y'all just moving too fast. But but the truth is, it was already unsettling in my heart. So I knew I
Yeah.
had to already. I just needed to really honor and figure out, why am I so triggered? What really is it? Because I was saying external
Yeah.
things like, did this and you didn't do this and you didn't say this, because it's easy to go that route when you get triggered
Yeah,
to
it
point
is.
at other people. And we do that
Right.
because we be so, and we're valid in our feelings. I think that's the hard part, because I can be valid in my feelings and
Right.
still not make you a villain. You don't have to be the villain
Right.
just because you have
Right.
these feelings, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? So
That takes
Yeah.
maturity.
it
yeah,
does.
ooh,
Absolutely.
ooh,
Hmm.
with the apology, even when I did go give a sincere, and I mean, I had to get my energy right before the apology, right? Because the
Absolutely.
trigger, once I was aware of what I was triggered about, and I'm noticing this, there's the root of the lack of consideration and empathy that I'm big on. I said, okay, well, I know this is mine, and that person did not deserve my behavior, so I'm gonna go on and apologize. And then I noticed another trigger. When my apologies are not received,
Mm. Yeah,
Oh,
that's one for me
I
too.
love, because then another trigger comes up, is neglecting my love. This is how I love you. This is how
Yeah.
I
wow.
prepare. This is how I try to move forward. And I felt neglected. So
Mhm.
again, with abandonment and neglect. But in that moment, because I came in a much better headspace, I was able to still not react on that trigger. I just felt it. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that was hard. That hurt me. So I went
Good.
back, did and didn't react all crazy. I was just like, okay, we're just not seeing it right now. That's fine. Went back to myself and was like, well, what was that? Because this was a different trigger, and it was
Yeah.
of my love. Um, so it's they're beautiful. Like, I can smile because I'm grateful that God has gifted me with an awareness to be able to look in myself that much and not
Yeah,
keep pointing the finger, because it's very easy to do that and say
it is.
this person and that person.
Is
Hey,
you.
every good movie has a villain.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
telling
Okay.
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah,
got
shout out to the villain era.
shout
Come
out to the
on.
villain,
Living
because
very comfortably in. Everybody can be
Yes.
it's totally fine.
Yes.
I
Totally
know
fine.
somebody to do
Totally.
it. So
If
yeah,
there's no self-awareness and accountability, there's no healing.
there's
You
no healing.
have to. There's no healing.
A lot of work, and that takes a lot of work, and it's baby steps to
It
that.
does.
So that was my trigger of the week. It was a double trigger. I was happy that I was able to see exactly what the trigger was. Now I'm figure out if then with these people, how does relationship grow, if it grows, right?
Yeah.
If that,
If
Mm,
it grows.
so
Yeah,
I
that's something to
feel,
consider.
that's
yeah,
scary right there, that if part.
because you know who you
Yeah.
know.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So if
yeah.
if I want to just say something to you, Leo. Well, first of all, the fact that you went back and apologized, I don't know who you're speaking of. Um, but the fact that you went back and apologized, especially during this time, I just want to kind of give you your flowers
Yeah.
because I know it can be hard. A lot of people will take like super like minute issues and will make themselves the center of it. Like you dealing with something heavy, like you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, and you went back
Right.
and apologized. So I want to look at it like if it can be repaired, if this person, if y'all really like that, even though you kind of went off the way you did, if y'all really like that, and they know you, they know your heart, and they know, listen, okay, maybe I didn't show up the way that she would have needed me to, but I also know this is catastrophic.
Yeah.
And she's
Right.
speaking from a place of complete pain. That's all it really was.
Right.
There was
Yeah.
nothing else but
It was
complete
pain.
sorrow that she
Yeah.
spoke from. And let her have her moment. Maybe there needs to be a little bit of a distance, but y'all gonna
Yeah.
come back together and like this. And when y'all talk
Yes.
again, it's gonna be so beautiful. It might be tears, it's gonna be hugs, because you both know that you love each other. And it was just a lot of sorrow that and a lot of things that happened in that moment that really was just a reflection of complete anger and almost like confusion as to what the fuck is happening right now.
Absolutely.
So
Mhm.
it's beautiful that even in the midst of all this, you said, let me put everything to the side to go make it right with this person, because I don't want to put no hurt on nobody.
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
And I feel like I
That's
said, I don't know
big.
who you're talking about, but I feel like it will come back in the time that it needs to, and the both of you will be able to sit down and say, I totally get it. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
get it.
I
And it's
love that.
That's
okay,
the
and we'll
hope.
be all right going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that. If that
Crystal
person say
Crystal
that,
does that well.
Crystal does that very
I do
well.
what
She does
well.
that well.
It will take for me though, in order to like grow, it will take that aspect that you speak on, like the acknowledgement that this is
Acknowledgement.
catastrophic and that was pain that wasn't
Yeah.
acknowledged on the other party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it will take them to acknowledge that in order for me to feel safe again, because otherwise you're still holding on to you,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Because
saying? So
then on the other side, on the flip side to that, if they
yeah,
don't acknowledge it, God, I don't know who this is, but it could stay fuck you.
Yeah.
Only because, and I know
we
that's
pretty
bad,
close.
y'all. I'm sorry. Cause this is shitty. We weren't talking about like where the fuck is my money or something like this. This is a horrible situation. So
Yeah.
somebody who's
Yes.
saying,
It
I
is.
don't
It's
like the way you
horrible.
came at me, but you're dealing with some shit that's heavy
But
that we
I
might never had to deal
understand.
with before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can give you a pass on that. It's not like you kicked me in the back of the fucking head and told me some
Yeah.
shit like, yeah,
Right. And if you can't get the past, then yeah, definitely revisit that friendship.
then it's
For sure.
fine.
Because
Then it's fine.
but we do have a question in the chat, but when we come back from break, we'll address that and then we'll get
Oh my
Gabe's
God,
trigger.
it's break
Oh
already.
my
It's
gosh,
break
Break time.
time.
We be
I'm mad. I'm
No,
mad.
that's okay.
Uh,
Listen, if we be flowing. So
Mhm.
when we come back from break,
Period.
we'll address the question and then we'll get to Gabe's trigger. And then we'll actually get to the rest of the topic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, I'm so sorry.
Tap into your essence with a divine essence candle. Candles that soothe your soul and balance your chakras. Each candle has an affirmation inscribed on each jar to help you stay grounded, create balance and harmony. Use code DE20 for 20% off your first purchase at divineessence.us.
What up, peeps? RG from the United Front. Got a quick question for you. Have you always dreamed about podcasting, but you don't know where to start or what even platform to use? Well, I can answer one of them questions for you from the start. Make StreamYard your first investment in your podcast future. StreamYard's easy to use, and it allows you to go live in multiple platforms at once. So, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, you can stream them all at the same time. Show us some love. That's my point. When you open up a StreamYard account, use that link below. That actually gives us some love so we can keep producing the same content. And you can also be using the same high quality technology we use to bring the content to your internet browser. So please and thank you in advance. Go StreamYard, go United Front. Talk to you later.
Tired of the same old motivational speaker? Well, unlock your full leadership potential with Penny Owens. Through storytelling and real-life obstacles with real-time solutions, you'll heal your inner child, expedite the learning process, highlight your strengths, and soar to the next level. Using my keynotes, Depression Ripple, and Purpose Power Infusion, I tackle the underlying issues that keep you from being where you want to be. Join the many who have changed their lives after hearing me speak. Go to www.pennyowens.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Healing Out Loud. If you're just joining us, we are talking about triggers and healing. And my son just walked by. Just
Hey, son.
that's my heart.
He was making sure he said
So we're talking about triggers and healing. There was a question. So shout out to the chat. We see y'all.
We see y'all.
Thank
Hey,
you guys
y'all.
for joining us. We see everybody that's in the chat, but we can't always get to every comment that's in the chat, but we do see you. But there was one question that was put up right at the end, right before the commercial break, and it says, "Does a person's pain validate an abusive reaction?"
does a person's
Absolutely
pain-
not.
No,
No.
No, it doesn't.
Absolutely
doesn't.
not.
That's
No.
why I apologize, because that's why
that was
Exactly. Exactly.
Even in my apology, just to clarify before we get to Gabe, even in my apology, I was very clear on apologizing for my behavior.
The way you respond. Yes.
Clear
right.
I was completely out of line for the way I behaved. You did not deserve that. That was disrespectful. I took that's the way I apologize.
Yeah.
It doesn't validate it. Now, the pain that I felt was still valid.
Completely valid.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's the
so
difference.
me being her sis, when we talked about it and she brought it up, first thing I did was separate the pain from the actual person that she was speaking to and the actual pain she might have caused them by her response. So we validated her feelings off rip, because that's what's important, right?
Yeah.
We validated those, but also we wanted to make sure we actually had her see the error of her emotional intelligence breakdown.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was a breakdown in the intelligence, but that was only because of this place she's in of grief. And we, we can understand that, but the person that she's dealing with, they don't have that same capacity. They don't understand that. They don't understand her grief right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you know how that goes.
And they don't necessarily have to understand why she's in pain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got give the person that's in pain some grace. Not saying that they, because their abusive reaction is not okay, but give them some grace because of the pain.
Yeah.
Especially if they've come to you and have apologized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Shel.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Engage, shout out to you for being a friend who gave her exactly what she needed for her soul, but also kept her accountable too. Because a lot of times you had people who would just be like, "Oh no, girl, you're not tripping." Da, da, da.
Right.
It's like, okay, maybe in this case you weren't tripping, but like you can't, you know, you had to kind of go and just, clean it up. And sometimes if this is the end, this is the end, but you're not going to say, I didn't come and try to do what was right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, yeah. So thank you for being that type of friend. Because that type of friend helps you to stay balanced.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. But I'm surrounded by those type of friends because y'all do the same thing for me. Yeah. So it's like a reciprocation.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I
now you didn't have to slap him, girl.
I really and that's why I called you. That's because you really came through and gave the validation that was needed, but the correction that was needed. And it was it was with love. It was a hug. So like, I just want to highlight y'all. Get y'all people in your life that can do that.
If you do that,
need that. Need somebody
gang.
Yeah. You don't need people like
You don't need co-signers. You don't need to co-sign everything you do.
Get you friends that tell you also when it's time for you to grow the fuck up.
Come on now.
Grow up. Not like that. Sometimes don't deliver. I'm gonna talk about me. That's one of my triggers.
Right. You ain't gotta say it like that.
But sometimes it's good for when you say, all right, like you have to kind of like get your head out of your ass and look at things from a different perspective. Yeah. Like for me, like I said, like earlier, like I was like, I feel like I was born aggravated. I always kind of had like these little things that would like bother me. But when I started last year, like with my journey, I used to have to really look in the mirror and really look in the mirror, like when you put it on, like and stuff, and say, Crystal, like you need to cut your shit. Like you need to stop. Like it can't. You have to take into consideration that while yes, there is you need to nurture you right now. you are living, and you're living in a world with people that come from backgrounds, even if you're familiar with those backgrounds, who have emotions, and they have goals, and they have all these different things. Like, everything is different from yours, and it's not that they don't love you or they don't see you. Maybe somebody just goes about something differently. Like, for example, me and my brother grew up in the same house with the same parents. We could be standing right next to each other, could witness the same thing happen. We're going to have a different perspective and a different response. We're going to feel the same thing. We're going to feel the same emotion, and we're going to know a particular outcome that needs to take place, but we're both going to go about it differently based on how we perceived it and how our emotions respond. And that has to be like the people in your life. And while your story, you're the main character, you have, in your story, you have supporting characters that also need to be honored and respected. And sometimes it's not just about how you feel. You have to honor how people around you feel.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah. And get you people that'll tell you that, like, I hear you, but hush, so you can hear everybody else. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. Come on now.
Because I remember being in this place where I had a friend that was going through something traumatic, and they were, just mean and rude, to me. It just was. And instead of me saying to myself that I didn't even validate my own feelings, because I was more concerned about how they were feeling, and I was feeling bad.
That's not right.
Wow.
And then it was like, and then I had to say, nah, fuck that. Just because you're going through something doesn't give you the right to treat me or mistreat me badly. It doesn't give you the right. And then in order for us to move forward, there's going to have to be a conversation, not now, but at a later time, where there's some acknowledgement. I know I treated you like shit, but I'm sorry. Then I can give you some great understanding. But if there's no conversation of you being accountable for your actions, then I can't really rock with you like that, for real.
Yeah. Wait, I got a question, y'all.
Wait, Gabe didn't give. Okay.
Well, Gabe, no. I can save it. Gabe, what's your trigger? I'm so sorry, sister. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I got triggered today telling somebody about my trigger with somebody else.
Lord.
So,
Lord,
it gets to be a lot. So this person was sharing with me, right? So now they're creating this safe space. They're telling me about their spouse and their spouse's triggers, and how, the spouse was triggered by something the parent had done, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, damn, that sounds real familiar to me in my situation, right? So I start sharing, and this person says to me, a close person in my life, they say to me, well, you should let that go, because what's it been, like 20 something years? Why are you still holding on to that?
No.
Triggered the fuck out of me, right? So
not in the safe space.
No. And I thought I was, but obviously I wasn't. So my triggers, so I had to explain to them once again. And then what jumped on me, y'all, was this whole I don't know how to call that. I know we get into the root of what the trigger was, but it was me having to explain myself. What is that called? Because I've done that all my life with people, trying to get them to understand me, and it's almost like, why are you giving
I
so
know
much?
exactly what you're saying there, but I don't.
Is that
people pleasing?
You pleading your case?
Yeah, I'm going with people pleasing.
Okay.
Needing to be heard and seen.
Yeah.
That's it.
There was such a need to be heard.
You needed validation in that moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what it sounded like. Yeah.
And I found myself saying, and you're only saying that because it's me. Like, you know what I mean? And that little girl in me kind of rose up, because here I am once again. I need you to hear me, but I need you to feel me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it really triggered me. But at the end of the day, I was able to identify why I felt the way I did. I'm learning people sometimes can't see past their own stuff. So you can bring the same exact scenario to them, wrapped in the same gift bag with the bow and all that, and they're going to analyze yours and almost act as if,
like it's not the same.
Yeah. So it was giving me like, wait, are you seeing what you're doing to me? Yeah. Here I am. You're doing this to me. And it was like, so that took me a minute, but it's kind of like, wow, that was a gift for me, to let me see that, you don't have to prove You don't have to prove that to anybody, because I didn't have to fucking explain my trigger and why I've distanced myself, or why I've created a boundary with the person that I'm close to with you at all. Yeah. But, you know, we're sharing, and I'm thinking, once again, I'm in a safe space and we're sharing, and it just kind of backfired. So I'm explaining to you my trigger, and you're telling, no, let that go. No, it's been a while. And do you know what the person said? I said, well, seeming as though I started my healing journey at 40, I'm just getting started. So the person says to me, whose fault is that?
Oh,
why are we complaining?
Whose fault is that you started so late? And
why
but
is
was
there
really
any blame to be placed?
Yeah.
That's not even a valid question.
That doesn't even make sense.
It was so enlightening. It was so enlightening. And then at one point, I'm like, why am I even having this conversation with you?
That was your gift handed to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was your gift.
Like
I like that we're calling triggers. I like that we're calling triggers gifts, because it takes the negativity away from it to some degree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah.
It's the truth. It's a gift. You're going to see something.
Just get a trigger. You're going to see something.
If you want to.
If you want to. Right. Like, if you want to.
Talking about my triggers with somebody else.
Now, ain't there some
Tasha's in the comments. She said narcissistic asshole.
Yeah.
Tasha. So, Chris, you had a question that you were going to ask right before Gabe.
Oh, yes. So, have you guys found, okay, shoot. I kind of give a brief scenario and then you guys tell me what you think. Some years ago, I had, went through kind of like a situation like with a friend. And then another friend had said, well, if you can reconcile with this man, why can't you reconcile with this friend? And so my response was, at the time, and I'm kind of asking because I want to know you guys' opinions, because I wasn't in this place that I am now at that time. My response in that moment was, well, I'm way more intimate with my friends than with this guy, and intimate in a way that, like, my friends know me. They know what I've been through. They've witnessed a lot. They see me cry. They've seen me in different life stages. So if you violate me, you're literally violating everything about me, because we've been through it together. As opposed to this person who I'm dealing with in whatever capacity, and it's a different type of relationship.
It's levels to this.
So I was in the moment, that was my response, and then I would think about it from time to time, like, well, dang, like, would I be quick to go back to dealing with a certain type of, I guess, behaviors from men. But when it comes to my girlfriends or other people, I'm ready to stand on business. I'm ready to stand on business with them. But these niggas running me through the coals and back. Yeah. And I'm still like, how do you like your eggs, sir? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, going through all this shit with these men.
Scrambled up right.
These women who've been praying for you, crying for you, fasting with you, going, and maybe they don't know the right words in the moment. They don't have the right actions. They don't, but it's not that the love is not there, but it's kind of almost like, I don't know how I feel about it. That's what I'm asking. I would have noticed that I would have kind of placed people like, well, you should have known better than to have done this to me. Whereas he ain't know better. But I ain't say it like that. But I kind of get that.
Right.
Now I'm a little different. Now I can line everybody up.
Right.
But now I'm a little different. But, yeah.
Everybody can get it.
Have you guys dealt with that in your lives, or do you see that often, as to where it's like, we really we'll talk all that, but we really won't hold these men accountable in these relationships that we lay with, we do all this stuff with, but then it's like your girlfriend, don't respond to you, don't show up, don't nothing, and it's kind of like, oh, it's it's for her, she ain't really there for me like that. Meanwhile,
but him,
and this is, I want to say this carefully, because how we started off, this is Domestic Violence Month. This man can literally do whatever he wants to you, and the door is still open. But these women that have crowded around you when you needed support and love the most, you willing to tell them to go fuck off. Like
Right.
with like that is definitely reflective of needing to feel loved and seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you guys dealt with
Yeah.
that? Have you seen
Tag
that?
me in.
Okay.
So there's
You got
two
it.
parts to this.
Yes.
I got it. There's two parts to this. So the first part, I feel like in friendship and sisterhood, sometimes you have to be wary of women that use that to do shit that sisters shouldn't do to each other. Because I've heard this scenario a whole lot. And I feel like women hold on to that because they use it as leverage, like a tool. But I feel like I hold my sisters to a standard.
Yes.
And I agree with you on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know the innermost parts of me. You know shit that I ain't, let's keep it frank and real. Shit that I ain't tell my husband. You know that about me, right?
You know it.
Come on. So it's a certain way or a level I'm gonna look at you if you cross the boundary.
Yeah.
A little more than him. Now I ain't saying, I ain't giving the caveat is this. I'm not talking about a man that's whooping on me and doing all manner of things against me. Now that's a self-worth issue. That's something, you have to work on.
Right.
But I feel like women should not use that to justify them not walking upright as my sister. Like, don't do that. Don't compare yourself to him because you in a whole different league. It's levels.
Yeah.
It's levels.
Took me out.
Yeah. It's levels.
Yeah.
What was the
I
other?
agree.
Did you say you had did you have another feeling about that as well, or that was it?
So then, like I said, I explained it, just that if that man is, you know what I mean, doing all manner of things against you, I just feel like those situations need to be handled separately. Yeah. And any woman that would bring him up, you got to question why. Why is he?
Yeah.
You did this to me. Let's talk about you. You know what I mean?
It.
But women use that. Yeah. I'm learning that. A lot of women talk to me about that. They use
you
that.
You let him do XYZ, and they throw back in your face what you've told them.
Yeah, weird shit.
Oh,
but you let him do blah blah blah.
Why you being weird to me?
Right.
Gabe said too, and then like when you talk about that self-esteem part,
yeah,
whether man was beating on you or not, if the behaviors are the same, let's just talk about behaviors, and they're both disrespecting you, and they're both crossing your sister and this man, I will go into, yes, you hold your sisters to a different standard. So yes, you naturally you want to keep trying to build this relationship, and this one's already built. So that's the difference of the response. But
like that.
I encourage people to go look at their relationship with their mother and their father. Because if all men get you no matter what, but your sister got one time to fuck up, then you gotta look at your relationship with your mother. And
you got a mother wound.
Yes, that mother wound.
Because a lot of times it's just that. It has nothing to do with if this person is more important or that person is more important. Like it could go into how you view women and how you view men.
Let's talk about putting our parents on trial.
Both mine on trial today.
Let's talk about bringing them to the floor.
That's gonna be our next show.
Stay tuned.
But really, that's shit. Because then you see how you show up in relationships and your friendships, and you notice, oh, this is how I view women. Like women ain't never,
Yeah.
It always stems back to that. So there's a lot of that scenario.
Because we pick our friends based off of sometimes our trauma.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. And then sometimes when you start to deal with that trauma, that friend kind of doesn't serve you anymore. Because that friend there was a trauma bond there with that friend. Yeah. And now once you start to heal, and it's like, okay, that friendship doesn't work anymore.
And Ninja too, with him too.
Yeah,
like, I feel like we're not connected no more. What happened?
Y'all know how many times you look back, you be like, how did I take that guy?
Yeah.
Like,
you be like, the sex just ain't sexing anymore.
Right. What was wrong with me?
That thing ain't banging.
No. And you just be like, ew, I don't even want you to touch. Don't look at me.
Bro.
I don't even want you to touch me no more.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I do have a question.
Wow.
Can triggers be used as a way to lack accountability?
They've always been.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They've always been.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm triggered. I'm triggered. So, okay, you did something, or I did something to you, but you're triggered. No, I'm triggered because I did something to you, but I'm triggered because of how you responded. How does that even make sense?
I feel like
I see what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
now
so I refuse to take accountability for what I did to you because you responded in a way that I'm like, how dare you respond that way?
Yeah.
Now I'm triggered.
Because
you know what I'm saying?
It's natural for like human beings to always look for safety. Like our immediate response is safety when something happens.
Yeah.
Even if safety means becoming completely numb. And like almost like I guess you could say psychopathic, to where it's like you mentally you're like there's no empathy, there's no nothing. And that could be, and not for a lot of people clinically, but some people they're just kind of like, that's my way of safeguarding myself. And so when going for safety, like if I'm looking for safety, just 1 + 1 is 2. If I'm looking for safety, I'm the victim. So I'm not going to look at it like I need to take account for what I may have done in this situation.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't like this. This bothers me. This is what happened. And then now with the way healing is talked about, when people talk about triggers, it gives people power in their voice to finally feel like they're heard. So it's like, oh no, let me stop you right here. I'm triggered by this. Instead of just saying, this situation bothers me. And then I forget, I'm sorry, I think honestly both of you guys said it, Lay and Gabe. This situation bothers me. Let me see why. Let me try to get an understanding as to why I'm bothered, and then come back at a later time, or just maybe between me and the Lord, I'll come back to it. But like, I need to step away and just work it out. People
and I think that when you are triggered, I don't think that's that's not the perfect time to react. Because triggered can usually create a pop off.
But that was too much like right.
So
you to our viewers, you gotta sit in it. Yeah, go ahead.
What I've got from this conversation: how to deal with triggers. 1, you need to identify it. Identify the trigger. What is it connected to this experience that is triggering you? 2, try to practice some mindfulness. Sit with yourself for a minute, breathing, stay grounded, try at least. Take a break. Remove yourself from the trigger. You got to remove yourself from that trigger immediately, right? Acknowledge your feelings. Me and Lake talked about this when we had our conversation. She was in the process. That was where she was at. She was at the acknowledgement stage. I acknowledged that I had these feelings, and this is why. She doubled that thing all the way back to her dad not acknowledging or showing empathy to her feelings. And you know what I'm saying? What else? Oh, regulate your emotions. Once Lael was regulated, she went back to the person that she had offended by her trigger, and by that, whatever that was that came up in her to have her feel that way and talk to that loved one that way. She went back to them with a regulated emotion. That's important. We got to regulate the emotion, right? Yes. So then once we do that, what else can we do? Oh, just express your feelings. Express them, but in a constructive way. And she also did that. So I feel like when you're dealing with triggers, it's like this long list of things. You'll get it over time, but you have to handle it in that way, just so that you don't miss a step and that you can kind of come back from it. Because triggers will take you down a rabbit hole if you let.
You better know it.
I want to add one thing to that. It's okay. It's to the express yourself. Because you can only communicate if you're listening. So listen.
Let me write that down. I didn't have that.
Because
should they do that before the expression or after?
It was probably throughout the whole process.
Okay, I'll just right here. Listen.
I think when you go back with a regulated nervous system, be willing to hear, especially if you did one of them steps you said, remove yourself from the trigger.
Yeah.
If you do that, know that you got to listen to some shit. Because 9 times out of 10, people dealing with abandonment, you can't just walk away from people.
Yeah.
And if you're 9 times out of 10, you triggered them too, no matter how you responded. So it's kind of like you still if you care about this relationship, listen to what they're saying, even though you're upset, even though you were triggered first, even though you were the one who was the victim first, or whatever it is. that person still is valid in their feelings and their experience with you as well. So just
Absolutely.
listen. So
Yeah.
through the expression,
Yeah.
when you come with a regulated nervous system, listen.
Yeah.
Be willing to listen and hear them. And
That's
express.
good. That's good.
That is very good.
Yeah, you
That's
have to
good.
listen. You definitely that's really important. And knowing when you're triggered.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain feelings I get when I'm
Well, yeah. The
feeling
identification.
like, okay,
that first one.
yeah,
Identify it.
knowing it. It's like, okay, I'm feeling some type of way and I want to react. So I notice it now, immediately that I'm in this space. I told this guy just, what is it, yesterday or day before yesterday, that he wasn't the guy for me. And I didn't want to date him or anything like that. When I tell you he completely blacked out on me, went off. Went off and told me that's why nobody don't want you and all. He went there.
No. He was triggered.
I'm triggered.
He was triggered.
And
I sat and I read this text and I said, and I actually just chuckled to myself and I gave him the thumbs up. So, and that was the end of the conversation. Because what he was trying to bait me, into this back and forth to this conversation. Fuck you. He's still mad because I didn't respond.
Good.
So go hold, you hold that, sir.
You passed that test.
I still don't want to be with you, boo.
You passed that test.
Bye.
So that would have triggered me before, and I would have went and told him about his mama and everybody in his family. And I would have read him the filth. Like I would have tried to cut his heart out.
Yeah.
With my words for the podcast.
Yeah.
That's the healing you need.
I was so proud
his phone number running across the street. Call this man.
Right. I was so proud of myself in that moment because he was triggered and he went there, and I didn't. There would have been a time that I would have been like taking his words to heart and believing what he was saying about me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, but knowing who I am now, man, it didn't faze me not one bit. Not one bit. I was like, you was a bum, you was a loser. So I don't want to be with you because you're stupid. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
You really would have messed up with this is exactly what I was talking about.
Yes.
Could have been done.
But you know what? No, you
and then I would have started recording audio.
This is to starve them. Don't give them nothing.
To starve them, yes.
That's the best.
Starve them.
That's the best thing to do because they want you to engage negatively with them so they could come back and say, yeah, see, it's just what I thought.
Yeah.
Gabe, I like that list. I need you to put that list somewhere.
That is good.
Okay. I got that from us talking about it, how we were like kind of identifying it.
Yeah. Shout out to us, Divine.
Yeah. We did that.
Yeah.
So we are coming to the part of the show that we like to call
what already?
I'm perfectly fine.
I'm perfectly fine.
I'm perfectly fine. That is where we each give our inner child a little bit of advice.
Yes.
To carry us through the week. Because me and little Shelly we be having conversations.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll start since I already have mine. I did write something down this time. And I want to say to little Shelly, I know things trigger you, but I just want you to know that I am here to protect us so that those triggers don't fester into other things. Yeah. I got us.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's good. That's beautiful.
Okay. Triggers, Lil Gabe. Triggers are a gift. Use them wisely.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes. Yeah.
I learned something today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing down. But how I feel. Triggered little AL. I'm proud of you. Like, that's really how I feel. I really feel of you and how you choose to express yourself and how you're able to correct yourself. So
I'm proud of you too, Mookie.
Yes.
Yay. We healing out loud, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris.
All right. So, little Crystal, Your feelings are valid.
Mm.
Your feelings are valid to be heard. While you don't need to react violently or scream to be heard, it is important to be very transparent about what you're feeling in the moment, be very clear about what you're feeling, and speak from your heart, because closed mouths don't get fed, honey. And okay, there's nothing wrong with that feeling and that emotion. And if anybody makes you feel like you are doing too much by saying what it is that you need or that you want, they just can't honor that for you. And that's fine. And that's fine. You're
Perfectly fine.
You're perfectly
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfectly
Let it
fine.
bring you back.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So thank you guys for joining us, everybody that stuck with us throughout this whole hour. I mean, I'm seeing the love. The chats has just been going crazy. So we definitely
I
appreciate
can never
all
see
of
that.
that.
Where are we chatting at? I can never see the chat.
You
That
can
little box.
you don't see it in StreamYard on the
Oh
side. You don't see
God.
all of the comments.
Never mind.
I don't see.
So we are streaming due to us being on this great platform called the United Front Network. If you are a fan of any one of these shows, I think I got it wrong the last time. I think we have like 6 shows. Okay, I see RG in the back going, yeah. We have 6 shows now. I'm not going to name them because I don't have them written down, but you can go follow us on YouTube at the United Front Network. And if you love what we're doing, please consider donating to our PayPal at OurGainsII. And if you want to email us, you have a show that you might want to broadcast on the network, you can send us an email at weareunited@myyahoo.com. And until next time,
Alrighty.
we will see y'all not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that.
Love and light.
All right,
We healing out loud, y'all. Peace.
Peace.